So recently, Sega re-released Sonic Generations, and it's not a bad job. It's been fun to revisit the game, and it kinda makes Colors Ultimate look even more pathetic in hindsight. It's incredibly solid for the most part, aside from some weird particle effect bugs, and it has a whole host of additions and changes. New costumes, multiple save slots, new Chao to collect, but no Chao Garden, and a redubbed story that, kinda weirds me out. Look, this game might have the most nothing story known to man, but I have these cutscenes memorized, so it's a little surreal. I enjoyed this little revisit, even if this release was definitely done to tide over the people until... wait, what's that? They added a whole new game to this game? Well, dang, alright, I guess I might as well see what's up and...
Overcome every obstacle with this power.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me, dude. Yes, everything you've heard is true and then some. Shadow Generations, the brand new pack-in title for the Sonic Generations re-release, is quite good. In fact, it's so good that you might see Sonic Generations as the pack-in title for this combo. It's honestly surreal to see a game in the Sonic series with this much polish, this much graphical fidelity. Not to mention the amazing level design, killer story, and there's no real caveats to speak of. Seriously, usually I can think of a small gripe off the top of my head, but this time, my biggest issue with the package is that I just wanted more of it. And really, that says it all right there. That Shadow Generations is a triumph for the Sonic series. So let's talk about it, eh? I mean, I'd much rather do this than make a video on that Sonic Frontiers DLC. Please stop asking me to do that. Get a hobby! From the outset, Shadow Gens kinda looks unbelievable. The absolute jump in how a 4K Sonic game can look, going from Frontiers to this? I mean, okay, this video isn't at 4K, my computer can't handle that, but all the same, this game is gorgeous. Biomes are given a beautiful new coat of paint. Rail Canyon has never looked this good. The open zone's pop-in is mitigated. The open zone in general just looks way better. Hell, we've been waiting for a game that looks better than Sonic Unleashed for years, and personally, I think we found it. And I mean, if not, it's a very close second. I feel that much is undeniable. By combining a smaller scope with more time, money, and manpower, Sonic Team finally surpassed that visual marvel they made in 2008. The character animation here reaches new heights. Hell, the cutscenes in general are aeons better than what we've seen in the past. And they have really good choreography for the first time in decades. Sonic Team finally has the means to pull out all the stops, reminding the world of the one undeniable truth. Shadow the Hedgehog is cool as hell, and that makes me incredibly happy because really, this level of spectacle is absolutely necessary for the story we're telling here. Shadow Generations, as you'd expect, goes through a lot of Shadow's history. Maria and Gerald Robotnik, Black Doom, the works. But this story really puts it front and center, back in Shadow's face, forcing not only Shadow to confront his traumatic past, but for the player to see these elements with a new clarity, a new level of detail that hasn't really been touched on in the series before. It culminates towards this theme of embracing the past, rather than letting go of it entirely. A theme that runs parallel to Shadow's last solo venture, while still converging at the same key point, letting Shadow choose how to move forward after facing his dark beginnings one more time. There's some more detail I can get into with this, but I'll save that for a dedicated spoiler section later on. For now though, can I just talk about how dang good the game itself is? Shadow Generations gameplay is unprecedented. Evolving off the base that Frontier set with its open zone gameplay, I never expected it to get this good, this fast. Shadow here controls like a dream. Fast and zippy, but with the ability to rein in the control if you so desire. And it's good in both 2D and 3D this time. I never really ran into any real issues or glitches either, as opposed to other Sonic... Shadow, what are you doing, dude? But beyond working on the base of Frontier's control scheme, this game adds its own wrinkles that really make things fun. Shadow, using the Chaos Emerald he has, is able to do Chaos Control, allowing him to stop time. They mapped this to the left trigger, so I spent the first hour or so doing it on accident, trying to do the Frontier's spin dash. But once I beat that muscle memory out of my head, I learned about the genius behind this mechanic. It adds a sort of risk-reward factor to the level design. While normally in boost games you want to avoid enemies, here, destroying enemies builds up your meter to let you use Chaos Control. And not only that, but Chaos Control opens up so many alternate paths, like, so many. Will make me drool just thinking about it. Whether you want to stop overwhelming enemies in their tracks, take a light speed dash through, whatever this green shit is, or freeze the timer for a little bit. It's a very cool, very versatile little mechanic that's brilliantly integrated. Plus, if that wasn't enough to differentiate Sonic and Shadow, this game introduces the Doom powers, mutations given to Shadow by his deadbeat alien father. Each one of them adds a unique little wrinkle to Shadow's moves that demands the player's attention. There ain't no boost to win in this game. From the Doom Spears, which allow you to multi-target enemies and switches, to Doom Blast, which allows you to send enemies packing, Surf, which lets you fast travel on water, Wing, which lets you fly, hell, even Doom Morph, which turns you into a weird squid. They all add something substantial to the way Shadow plays, and I really like all of them. Yes, even Morph, I feel like that one's a little bit misunderstood, though in the defense of people who don't like it, it's pretty poorly communicated. Did you know you can launch straight up a grapple point if you release the button underneath it? True story. These powers very much operate on a rule of cool, each upgrade being more rad than the last. But they also make the act of speeding through levels feel more mechanically involved in a way that I appreciate. And even then, they're not all needed to succeed. Sure, Shadow can walk through walls, disappear, and fly, and be much more unique than the other guys. But he doesn't have to. The player's free to choose whatever route they wish through this game's levels, and some of those don't have Doom powers. And I love that freedom. The fact that none of these levels are misses in my eyes either, chef's kiss. They nailed it. Granted, some of the mini challenge stages are a little bit annoying, but a lot more of them were annoying in Sonic Generations, what can I say? And what's most important, the main levels, all bang to me. From the opening acts of Space Colony Arc, to the gorgeous high-octane thrills of Rail Canyon, to the staggeringly open Kingdom Valley. This game even made me love a Sonic Forces stage with Sunset Heights. And Chaos Island ain't bad either. I mean, sure, like I said, there's only 12 main stages, but I'd much rather have quality over quantity here. God knows in previous entries we were getting neither. Every stage here feels like a miracle, a once-in-a-lifetime high for Sonic Team. And I mean, hey, next game's still in development, so we don't know, maybe that is the case. But I choose to believe that this is merely the start of a beautiful path to the future. Heck, even the bosses are designed with this same multipath mentality that the stages have. It's crazy what they were able to do here. In my opinion, Shadow Generations might be the first game in the Sonic franchise with no bad bosses. I love all of them here. They're able to amp up the standard of spectacle introduced by Sonic Frontiers Titans, but in the same breath, they have much more substance to them. All 4 fights in this game feel fun and unique, and iterate on the mechanics you learned in the game in such cool ways. BioLizard starts out as that iconic SA2 fight before taking a turn with some freakish bubbly limbs and some shooty set pieces as it clings desperately to its life. Metal Overlord uses Doom Surf in the sunken ruins of Final Fortress, which is already so cool, and it demands quick reflexes to knock projectiles into that big bionic body of his. Plus, if you use Chaos Control, he has unique dialogue for that, and I think that's awesome.
Trying to use Chaos Control? Ha! That power already belongs to me!
And Mephiles has this quick draw fight that uses almost every ability in your arsenal. You need to act fast when he's on a rampage, lest you get torn to shreds by this temporal tyrant. And I won't get into too much detail on the final boss here, but man, what can I say? They nailed it. I've been saying that a lot, but it's true. It uses a lot of the mechanics I've listed before, but in a way where it feels like the game was teaching you for this very moment, rather than reusing assets for the sake of reusing them. Finally, a good final boss in this series again. I don't even know how long it's been, man. Though it's incredibly funny to contrast that fight to whatever the hell the Time Eater battle in Sonic Generations was. Seriously, why couldn't they have just remade the 3DS version of that fight? And each of these fights have little shortcuts, where you can take an alternate path off a ramp or use Chaos Control to catch up to them quicker than you would normally. The design is so tight. How did we get here so fast? I thought it would take another 5 years at the most. But what I love the most about these fights, beyond their mechanical goodness and raw energy, is how they contrast against the theming of the game's narrative. As I stated before, I believe the theming of this game is embracing the past and being able to move forward from it. But the antagonists, in comparison, have all let their past consume them. BioLizard being a literal manifestation of all the turmoil of Shadow's past, being his prototype. Metal Overlord stuck in his ways of wanting to surpass Sonic and be the true ultimate life form, still believing he's that guy.
Nobody can defeat me! Not you! Not Sonic! Not anyone!
And Mephiles desperately trying to restore himself to the timeline, wanting to return to his old existence.
No! I want to exist!
I found it all quite brilliant, honestly. Not bad for a Generations game. And of course, the cherry on top is with Black Doom, Gerald, and Maria. Black Doom's entire plot revolves around letting Shadow's past consume him, overwhelming him with the one weakness he knows about his son in an attempt to basically pull a Xehanort on him. That's why he keeps bringing back Radical Highway over and over. It's a gameplay metaphor for the dark side of Shadow's past trying to overtake him, since that was the first ever level he was playable in. Though it's also really funny to just think that he really likes Radical Highway.
Shadow, I have something I wish to show you. Come with me. I swear it's not Radical Highway again. Please listen to me, Shadow.
But who better to pull Shadow out of this spiral than the people he held fondly in the past? Gerald and Maria. The people who treated him like his true family, and were always able to guide him to the light. The people who Shadow tried so hard to forget about. But here they are, staring him in the face. Hell, staring us in the face too. We get to spend more time with Maria and Gerald here in Whitespace, and dedicated players can learn so much more about their past, refreshing ourselves on the story and learning new parts that truly made me feel more for their tragedy than I ever had before. And it's all of this confrontation with Shadow's past that brings him to a new revelation. Sure, the past can hurt, but we can't change it. So instead of running from it, why not learn from it? Shadow learns to fight not with destructive anger in his heart, but the wish that Maria had for the world. That is the destiny that he chooses. Oh my god, look at his smile. It's so genuine I could cry. It's a bittersweet tale. Shadow having this final meeting with the people who shaped him, and him coming away from this reunion for the better. But ultimately, the story can't end happily for Gerald and Maria, and ultimately it never could have. But Shadow keeping these feelings in his heart and not letting them fade lets them live on, at least in some way. Man, can you believe there are people who hate Ian Flynn's writing? What a bunch of idiots. And I mean, what else is there to say, really? Shadow Generations is fantastic. It's a true testament to Sonic Team's new direction. Learning all the right lessons from Frontiers, the crew here was able to make a small-scale game that retains its style and layers, topped off with a story full of heartbreak and soul. And man, I want more like this. No more steps in the right direction or misguided projects with potential. I've seen a taste of a fully realized Sonic game again, and damn do I need us to stay on that track. Imagining a world where the Sonic series continues to flourish like this, getting more cinematic, more fun to play, is just... whew, I'm getting chills. And I'm gonna say something that might be a little bit controversial. I think in a few years' time, if Sonic Team keeps this momentum going, they might actually be able to pull off Sonic Adventure 3. I mean, we already got unique movesets for Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy in Frontiers. Polish them up to the level Shadow's at here, and I think we might have something that breaks boundaries and pushes us even further on this one-way dream. Sure, think of it as blind faith if you must, but I know it was never Sonic Team's intention to make a bad game. I never blame the creatives in this regard. That's just poor form. They always want to break through and make something great, and while they don't always hit, most fall short due to corporate meddling from Sega. But as this series runs back up to the top of the world, I don't think that'll be as much of an issue anymore. Now, is there anything that I forgot to oh my god, Team Dark. I forgot to mention Team Dark's back and their found family. I'm horrible. Oh, I'm horrible!